Solomon's Seal, Part 2. So where are we at this point? We are where all individuals find themselves. We are immersed deep within the reality of chaos. We exist within the cacophony of noise, which lulls us to sleep. We exist within the incessant inundation of physical inputs, drowning our thirst for answers, emotional tearing of the soul, rational contradictions of opposing dialectics, haunting wishes to know. The chaos comes from 6 centers. And so it begins. Man sleeps to the music of chaos, unable to wake up from his dreams. Some dreams beautiful, others horrors beyond imagining. There is no level 4 here. There's only sleep and dreams, from which we struggle to awaken, but find there is nothing for us to grasp as we reach out desperately for something to which we can cling in hopes of dragging ourselves onto something concrete, drag our floundering convictions onto something enduring, and drag our exhausted bodies toward some form of absolute objective truth. But we have ears to hear, they say, and we have been told we have eyes to see, but do not see. Figure 8-2 comes from the diagram of everything living. 1 for unity, 6 for the number of categories into which all of reality can be classified. We are going to leave figure 8-2 for a short time before we come back to it. What is not so readily visible is the 7, the 7th room, which emerges from chaos as one strives to listen to the silence. It is Solomon's seal, hidden within plain view within the diagram of everything living, which provides us with the knowledge as to what the 6 rooms are and what the 7th unseen room is. It is the attainment of level 4 which brings order to chaos. It is when one reaches the top of the stair. It is when one reaches the location representing the 7th room. It is when one reaches the room void of all, reaches the silence that the journey actually begins, reaches the end of chaos. Once reaching the top of the stair, it becomes apparent that one stands in the silence. But at this point, one is unaware that it is one's own presence which is experiencing the silence. Standing in the silence, unaware of one's own presence, can be represented as shown in figure 8-3. With time, one learns to recognize the silence is the silence within which one's I stands quietly living in the moment. Such a level is represented as shown in figure 8-4. This is the level 4. Actually, this is the beginning of level 4. There are many degrees of level 4. That is why the ancients referred to this state as the beginning of the journey, which was preceded by a long and arduous climb, sliding up, sliding back, climbing up, sliding back, climbing up, sliding back, before one even attained the state of 8-4. Figure 8-4, when fully revealed, gives us insight regarding the number 6, 6 sides, 6 elements. 6 sides, 7 rooms. Order emerges with the implementation of the silence. What do the 6 regions surrounding the silence represent? If we zoom in on Solomon's seal, we observe 7 regions or realms within which reality can be sorted into the 6 elements comprising reality, into the 6 elements comprising the whole of reality. The 6 regions are illustrated with open doors. Initially, the doors are not open as one stands in the silence, but with time, patience, commitment to be an obedient servant, the doors may open. The process of becoming an obedient servant to the ethereal, the process of becoming an obedient servant to reality, reality too, does not have the potential to come to fruition until one masters the physical egos. And one cannot master the physical egos of sensory, emotional, and mental influences attempting to dominate one's life until one awakens to life, until one finds the meaning of allowing one's true self to emerge and allow the I to find its way into the conscious aspect of one's life. Room 7 is actually the 4th level, or what is sometimes referred to as the 4th room. In short, one must attain level 4 before one can learn to master the ethereal aspect of reality. Reality 1 is the region from which one steps as they enter the silence. Reality 1 is our physical universe. And upon stepping into the silence, one leaves the physical behind. Although one has left the physical behind, the physical universe remains open to one's return. Sometimes only the single door of the silence is open for the individual. Sometimes a second, third, fourth, or more doors open to the individual as they stand in the silence. One of the little-known reasons to strive to reach level 4 is to open the potential to step into more than just the open door of the silence and back again into the physical. Reaching level 4 opens the potentiality of stepping into the remaining 5 regions. Region 1 is World 1, is the region within which our physical machine travels in order to create, in order to experience. Region 7 is the region where one attains level 4, is the silence, the region within which the I becomes identifiable, is the region within which one's I becomes formed, is the region within which one's I becomes sustainable. Yet you are the summation of all 6 aspects of reality, which you may or may not have experienced. On the other hand, to experience one's true essence, one must separate oneself from one's storehouse of personal experiences, be said experiences physical or ethereal in nature. One has little choice but to let go of all information one has gathered, including letting go of the silence itself, if one is to experience one's true essence. Only when one has let go can one stand as in the purity and as the purity of oneself and potentially master all 6 regions. If one is the master of oneself, one can shut out any of the 6 elements found within the 6 rooms as one stands alone, as one's self. Some would say one has no choice. Some would say one has no free will to accept or to reject the domination of self by any of the 6 regions, by any of the 6 elements of reality. If said elements wish to force themselves upon one's true self, the individual. While it may be true, none of the 6 elements can be forced to open themselves to the individual's self, it is likewise true that self, once awakened, can pick and choose which of the 6 elements it wishes to experience, should the opportunity arise. Many would suggest willingly silencing the stimuli of the ethereal, willingly silencing any one of the 3 active realms of the ethereal is a heretical idea. Being a slave to external influences, be they generated by a physical cosmos, reality 1, or be they generated by an ethereal reality, reality 2, makes no difference. Slavery is slavery, regardless of who the slave owner is. What then of the concept of a confused slave? Slaves are confused slaves when they are puzzled, perplexed, baffled, mystified as to why it is they do what they do. When an individual goes through life on automatic pilot, goes through life simply reacting to, as opposed to knowing what it is they are doing with intent, they are by definition a slave of circumstances, a slave of and to their environment, be it physical or ethereal. It is only when an individual is free to make their own choices based upon not only knowledge, but based upon understanding of just what it is they are about to do, that their decisions are made as obedient servant. It is only when their willingness to accept the tasks set before them is made as an obedient servant, rather than made as a confused slave, is made as an individual awake, as opposed to acting as a sleeping slave. To be a servant to the higher is not necessarily a bad thing. Having acknowledged the understanding that being a servant to the higher is not necessarily bad, it must also be noted that great responsibility comes along with the station of being an obedient servant. In these presentations, we have spent much time examining how it is the physical cosmos overpowers the true self in terms of physical sensory domination, physical emotional domination, and or physical mental domination, as well as some time examining a few aspects of reality too, examining the ethereal. While the individual who has awakened has the option of refusing to walk through the doors open to them, the sleeping individuals have no choice. Individuals, for the most part, step into the world 1 asleep. A very few step into worlds found within the whole, such as the physical universe, awake, come into the physical with a preset objective. Most individuals step into the physical realm asleep. A few of these occupy the physical, and they do so awake. The process of awakening is long, tedious, and fraught with discouragement. Next, we are going to examine in part 3, dealing with Solomon's seal, we are going to examine in detail what the 7 regions are that are found in Solomon's seal. And then we will proceed to disassemble Solomon's seal in order to understand where Solomon's seal is hidden in the diagram of everything living.